Just long.
I have an iPad and I got this error message in the library website and certificates and don't proceed and all. So I took it into the IT manager and he's troubleshooting what's going on.
All set. Let's call the meeting to order. Thanks, everyone. Nice to see you either in person or online. You're looking good. And we have excused absence for Aaron and Paulo, and rest of us are in the room. I need a motion to approve.
Yes,
Excused.
Hannah?
Oh. Oops. No.
We're missing
Hannah. Sorry.
Hannah's.
Oh, is Hannah here?
She said
She wasn't one of the excused ones.
Okay, so
She's not here yet.
no, we're gonna be on our way. So just go with Aaron and Paul for now. Motion to move. Jamie, Lisa, any opposed? Motion passed. Land recognition. Lisa?
Okay, the Sault Ste. Marie Public Library is a gathering place where community comes together to share stories, to explore new ideas, and to gain knowledge of the past. It is through this unique position in our community that we support and promote truth and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge with respect that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and is known as Bawitang. Bawitang is the home of Kettigonsivy First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. The library and we as individuals have a deep desire to bring about change in our community and move forward together as diverse and inclusive peoples. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect.
Number 3. Any additions to the agenda or changes? Jamie?
I have 10.1 would be the OLS virtual conference on October 24th.
When is board go?
Yeah,
She's asking.
Oh, you want to add it there?
I'm sorry, I want to add it.
Oh, well, that's right. You got it.
Unless it's the online conference, right?
Yep, I have a link to register to it in the email that I sent you last
Okay.
week. It's free.
Yeah, I remember. Anything else? Anybody else? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Steve? Want to move? Thank you. Mike? Second?
Yep, I'm good. Second.
All right. Any opposed to the motion? Motion passed, the agenda is approved. Delegations, there are none. Number 4 is chair's report. I've included in your package a couple items. I had a focal meeting earlier this month, last month, I forget which month I'm in sometimes. Just a couple of things. We pay a fee to belong to FOPL, and FOPL represents in most of the libraries in the province, and they do a number of things. So I thought it'd be important to bring these documents back so you understand what we're paying for and what are the benefits of belonging. Very few, like I said, very few libraries in the province don't belong. Benefits and membership is up for why join, right? So the first article, and it's about a lot of it's in cooperation with OLA. Local work together on advocacy for things like the plug, for First Nations funding, which happened recently, and Ontario Digital Public Libraries, big items, and apply to all the libraries in the province. So if you don't belong, you still get that benefit, but it's helpful if all the libraries belong because you're paying for that advocacy. What else? Yeah, so that's all I want to say about that because you can read the articles. I have 2 other things I want to mention. I have an invitation for Friday for Jennifer Meisner, sorry, she's part of the 25-year club. I can attend. And I was hoping someone else could take my place and represent the board at that event. That's this Friday, at 6:30. I can give you the details if you can attend on behalf of the board. Anyone?
With the 25-year club?
The 25-year club is for employees who had 25 years of service with the library.
Oh,
And so anybody who is a current employee or a retired employee who has reached 25 years of service is invited to this dinner that we have, in which we celebrate this employee and give them a gift, the board.
how many people attended?
I don't know.
How many?
This is the first time. This is the first
How
time.
many are in the club? Let's.
This would be the first time in a while, post pandemic.
26 in the club.
So it's at the,
I wouldn't mind going, but I don't want to, if anybody else has.
anybody, I'm gonna, Jamie's volunteered to go. Does anyone want to challenge or anyone else
Well.
interested? I'll put it that way. Going once, going twice. Jamie, you're in. Thank you very much. Yeah, it will be, and I, unfortunately, I can't attend.
Oh, Amber's on the bridge. Ooh.
So, dress nice.
Yeah, I'll have to
And-
dress up.
And finally, for my report, it just, it's later in the package as well, but Sharon Wigley is retired, one of the senior managers, and just on behalf of the board, I want to recognize her and for her service, long service with the library and all she's done for us. The board appreciates everything she's had to do.
She's definitely in that 25-year club.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. That's the end of my report. I need a motion, no, just information, right?
I have a motion here if you want, it's more information.
Just kidding. All right, numbers, we'll move on to numbers. If there are any questions, I'll take them, but now it's your chance. Number 6, then we'll move to the consent agenda. Before I ask for a motion, anything, questions? Jamie?
no, I don't have it.
You did. You got
I
the-
did, but Matthew answered
Okay,
it. so I'm good.
Anything, anyone need anything removed from consent? Or have questions about anything in consent? In that case, we'll move to summer. Yep, is that the motion?
Yeah.
Alright. Be resolved, the St. Mary Library Board approves the consent agenda of the September 30th, 2024 meeting as presented and amended. I need a mover. Lisa, Kevin, your second. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Thank you. Any opposed to the motion approving the consent agenda? Hearing none. Number 7 is done. Number 8. Is this kind of out of order, Business Horizon?
But it's from the minutes, no,
For the minutes were
that way
approved.
you don't have to pull them.
Is there any Business Horizon?
I don't have any.
Neither. We got a bus to catch
I
here.
just get a free dinner.
Number 9, information. All right. Matthew, you're up. 9.1.
Oh, the membership drive,
Yeah.
so we've done, another membership drive, this year. Liz had coordinated that, for the last 2 years. We've seen a little bit less return this time around. That being that we pushed so hard last year, we got a lot of new memberships and it's hard to, find more people to register who don't already have cards. And so she has recommended that in the future, maybe we look at doing it not on an annual basis, but maybe a biannual basis. And then doing on the other year, doing a patron retention kind of membership drive. So getting people to renew cards. So maybe 1 year we'll focus on getting new people to sign up. And then the next year we'll focus on getting people to renew their cards. But other than that, it was a fairly good success. So I can't recall Rebecca, do you know the numbers? It's somewhere 300 or 400s. It's less than 500 though.
Last year was.
Was 800.
Where did we get this year?
I have the numbers from the
Okay.
police yet.
So basically, about less than that.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So could, instead of doing it every other year, could you target a demographic like elementary school age or seniors or?
Yeah.
Try to do it every year and
But
hit.
if I
certain
do a demographic based, I mean, certainly we could try something. I will make note.
Property.
Rebecca, if you don't have
I think that was in the strategic plan, wasn't it?
some of it, yeah. Targeting school groups for membership drives was definitely
I
one
think
of the
that'd be
items,
easy to do.
depending on school.
Or even targeting high schools, cause with luck, they have school libraries that could partner with you. Like I'm thinking of St. Mary's and
Yeah.
Superior Heights. White Pine, I mean, there's big high schools now, you could probably really. Oh, Wayne would know better than I.
No, I know,
Like,
I know, I'm
it's-
just thinking another targeted group would be immigrants.
Yeah,
Oh,
And
yeah,
I don't know how, if that's part of what Elisa's already doing, like I.
She's definitely gone to like live events and stuff. So we're going to Creation Partnership and big events at like Algoma University when the reason that we do September is because there's new students that are arriving at the university and colleges, right? So she has targeted that. She's also targeted like the reserves, or like
yeah.
she's gone to Garden River
Cool.
and stuff.
oh,
So,
yeah, the First Nations partners.
yeah, so she's done quite well at targeting various groups in her overall membership drive. But then again, we could focus on just schools and trying to hit all the schools in September. But one of her recommendations was a focus on renewals.
You know, or combine it. Like 300 is a pretty healthy number for a new, like it's not as great as last year, but it's still pretty healthy to sign up that many people. They call it library patrons,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know that, you know, like I can respect her judgment if she's thinking maybe every second year, but at the same time,
Why abandon it?
I'd be happy to get 300.
Yeah, why abandon it
You know.
when you have it every year?
I think
Yeah.
Does it take up a lot of resource?
It does take a lot of resources,
Yeah.
especially when we're going to different locations. I think this year they cut out the grocery stores because they didn't get much return on
Okay,
actually getting people to sign up when they're standing outside of Metro. So taking some of the experiences they got from last year, they're trying to figure out where are the best places to go, because I mean, we're putting money behind it too because of staff salaries, sending people out to try and register those people. So we put in as many events as we can, and there's a lot of events happening in September, especially the cultural days kicking off at the end of the month, and like I said, school's starting.
Yeah.
So she's trying to use her resources as best she can, but again, she's limited in the number of hours she has for her staff. So it's trying to figure out what is the best use of the resource to get the most
Maybe,
retention.
yeah, so scale it down, target a couple areas, don't invest in heavily, that's what I'm hearing here. Don't invest don't invest in as heavily as you might have before, maybe like just 50 areas. And then have realistic targets, like you're not gonna hit 500-600, but bringing in 300 is, like I said, I think around the table, yeah.
Well, I would still like it to be annual. Did we pull in any new registrations during the Dolly Parton event?
I think we did.
Like the people who registered for Dolly Parton, did they also register for the library?
A number of them already had library cards, but there
Okay.
were some, but I don't have a number of them. I just know that some are registered.
Is the Dolly Parton Library fully registered?
I have not had any communications with the mayor's office since then regarding the project. I know they were not full when they launched
No,
after the library.
I know that too, yeah. I
Um,
mean, that would be another target to try to fill that.
I know social services is one of the key players in getting people registered. So they're looking at low income
Can
families.
people
that need
register here if they come in and wanna register?
We give them information about how to register,
Oh,
but we don't.
so. You need to answer that? Is, in terms of renewal, can a lot of it be done by email alerts that your card is about to expire?
Yes, so there's a couple ways. Phone is also another option. We have something called Phone Tree, which makes calls.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So there's email notifications as
I
well.
mean, that
If your card is
happens.
expired.
That's sort of a normal, that renewal reminder is in the word, is always, it's not a special thing.
And your library card expires on your birthday, so it's easy.
Oh,
to
is that when it expired? Oh, I always wondered. Okay.
Yeah, so it's easy to remember when you need to renew your.
Oh,
library
no,
card.
I never knew that, Matthew.
There you
Oh
go.
my God, it's been 10 years. Okay,
So
I'm
at
sorry.
the end of the day, I think we're looking at a more realistic number and maybe a modified investment. But it's still not, we'd like to see something still happen.
Okay, no, and that's fine. So instead of doing a large, trying to capture any and everybody, we'll do a more focused
Pick a target.
each year.
Yeah, pick a target,
Maybe-
or targets.
And 1 year we'll look at seniors, go to residents.
Well, yeah, they're right next door, right? It wouldn't be hard to find
And
them.
then the next year, students, and the year after that,
Uh-huh.
new families, to things like that.
Good.
That's fine.
9.2, public library.
So that's coming up pretty quick. This year's theme is Libraries for Life. And I believe I wrote my write-up for the next newsletter on that, so take a look. And then we'll have a number of events planned. I'm not sure what the departments have right off yet. I've been off a little bit, so I haven't had an update of the events they have planned, but I know that we usually have a lot of things going on. Authorpalooza is one of those events that often happens during that week, so I believe that's scheduled for them. And then we'll move on to the Brazilian Festival. We've been partnering with NOLA. That's the organization we've been doing the Spanish and Portuguese classes with. And so working with them, we're putting on a Brazilian festival over at
Cool.
Plaza, yeah. I was gonna say pavilion, but it was not a pavilion, it's a plaza.
Nice.
Save our school libraries, usually it kind of goes against the board's policies to put out these kind of campaigns where we're trying to get signatures. So we don't often put out petitions, but because this is related to libraries, we want to support the library sector. We did push Ontario Libraries Association's campaign to save our school libraries. And so we had a number of petitions put out in the library locations. And we also had some in our break rooms for the stuff just like. And we gathered up a number of signatures, and Rebecca emailed them, or you mailed them out. So we're joining a number of libraries and organizations and schools across the province in this camp. Life Jacket Lending, so this is a partnership with the city. They've given us a number of life jackets to lend out. So this is a brand new addition to our object library collection. Similar to snowshoes. But these ones, fortunately, we don't have to store them like we do the snowshoes in winter. These ones are actually going back to the pool for storage. And then in the spring, they'll come back to us and we'll have them ready for the summer months. Yeah. I mean, not everybody gets to go out to camps and stuff and don't have an opportunity to purchase their own life jackets. Or they're going to Shen and they want to get a life jacket for a kid, so we'll have that available. Next is retirement of Sharon Whitney. So this is a pretty big loss for myself. And I feel bad for the library as well because they're losing a lot. knowledge and expertise, but Sharon has been a huge help to me since I began in this position. She took over my role as the acting manager of public services when I became the acting CEO, and she had supported me all through the process of being a CEO here at the library. And she's given 41 dedicated years here, and we're really going to miss her on the team. Right now, we are recruiting for her position. As I said, we can fill her vacancy, but we can't replace her. So we'll do our best. Unfortunately, I've not gotten much of a response for her position.
No,
No, I've actually had to extend the deadline for applications. I extended an additional 3 weeks because I didn't get a lot of quality applications. So that may be a difficult position to recruit for, trying to get somebody to come to Sault Ste. Marie. We've experienced something similar with both the manager of IT and the manager of community engagement. Really, we've had difficulty recruiting. Hopefully, we will not have this
So what is
longer
the new,
process.
what's the new deadline?
3 weeks from last Friday. So I don't remember the exact
So
date.
sometime later in October.
Later
And
in
is the issue salary or job
Could be.
description or?
I don't know if it's job description.
no, it's relocated from Southern Ontario.
We do offer relocation bonus.
You do?
So
Okay.
where we compensate you for most of your expenses moving here,
Mhm.
so that it's not an expensive move. It could be salary. I think our salary is quite good considering the cost of living with housing stuff here. So it is offset a little bit that way. It is also kind of a big job too. It's management and getting somebody who is a librarian and a manager. It's kind of tough. It was especially tough when we're trying to get somebody who also had the IT.
Oh, yeah.
But we somebody with reference and children's background should be easier to find somebody with one of those two. So I'm hopeful, but so far, very good applications.
If you don't, if that doesn't work, would you take this job to OLA and try to
I
put it
can,
in the job fair there
I can.
at the end of January?
Right now, it's on the partnership job board, which is the main job board for librarian positions across Canada. We'll see.
Yeah, and promoting from within, is there any opportunity there?
There may, there's not many people who have MLIS on staff. So if I recruit from within, it'll likely be somebody without that qualification. So right now, we're hoping to get a librarian. If we're unable to get a librarian, we'll look at alternative solutions.
So do you send it around to local libraries that are like Algoma U and City College or whatnot? Are they aware that?
They should be. They
vacancy?
should be aware. I mean, I poached Michael from Algoma University. He was working
Yeah.
over there. So I mean,
But like, do you reach out and send that job posting to your colleagues in this region?
I haven't. I don't. Also, I also don't want to alienate too many of my
Oh.
colleagues
Well,
taking their staff from them.
Matthew. There might be somebody whose life ambition is to work in a public library and they're stuck in Sioux College
It's possible.
Then they'd be looking,
or at the hospital.
then
or-
they'll be watching the job boards.
I would think that they would be aware.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah,
Well,
It's posted on our website too. Like we have promoted it.
well,
Yeah, it's just. But I keep taking people from Algoma University's library. Tracy Plunkett.
no, but then they might have a colleague who's, like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just thinking of the Sudbury Library Market that I worked in and
Oh, yeah,
you know,
coach.
it was a huge network of It's not just that group that are working in Sudbury, it's their peers and their connections and.
I can look to widen the net, see.
Thunder Bay and Chinese, I mean,
It's hard, because a lot of, I know if I was a CEO at Sudbury, I wouldn't be too enthusiastic about losing my staff to it.
Unless you want them gone.
Yeah,
Getting back to Sharon, if there's any kind of recognition ceremony,
yes.
you know.
like, do we
We wanna,
do a card or what is it? What's appropriate?
it's in policy someplace.
Yeah, you've already given her, you've gotten a gift
Mhm.
on behalf of the board. And she has a dinner coming up on 25th. So,
A good invitation to her.
Yeah.
Or any of the board that wants to go.
we'll make sure invitations are.
Okay. Thank you. 9.7.
Okay, yeah, there's a copy of the letter attached. Wayne and I had met with Ross earlier this year to discuss some of the priorities that Focal has for Ontario libraries. One of them was the First Nations funding, and Ontario government did invest 3.75 million into First Nations libraries. And so I sent a letter of thank you on behalf of the library to acknowledge that that's something that they've done. Thank them for their support for library services.
And that 3.75 may keep some of them from closing. It might help some of them reopen on First Nations communities because they've lost like 50% of their libraries. So it's a significant investment.
So this is an increase in?
No, it's new funding.
Oh, it's new funding?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's
okay.
a salary supplement for First Nations.
Wow.
libraries. So yeah, they just announced 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, and that's been a long push for OLA. So next is Paradigital Public Library, right? So they are making progress. They're not, if you think 3.7 million is not huge money, but it's new money for the libraries and it's for a very important sector. So we'll take it.
It's a win.
It's a win.
It's a win.
Exactly.
Mhm.
9.8.
Northern Ontario Library statistics. So those are the statistics that we have to provide to the ministry every year to get our funding. And I thought it would be interesting to compare some of the Northern Ontario libraries. Maybe next year I'll compare us to other libraries with a population of the same size. But this year we looked at Thunder Bay, North Bay. And I just thought it was interesting to look at the data. So I've provided you with a chart. I did ask the ministry if they could give me some of the data because there's a lot of information. So it's not all the data from the survey. It's not comparing everything, but just a few key areas. And I presented it in a infographic just to give you visually appealing way to look at it.
As much as none of this can be taken in isolation, there were some things that stuck out.
Yeah.
Like Thunder Bay with there's music downloads, like the rest of the libraries, the other four running a couple hundred to a couple thousand, and then they've got 17,000 hits or downloads for music. And it's what is it? Why is that so different? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Number of visits made in person. Looked at Greater Sudbury, for example, 450,000, and you're at 160,000. So could be a way of how they're gathering their data.
Yeah.
There's a number, like, that's why I don't want to look at anything in isolation, but it does make certain things stand out all the same.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see that North Bay has more visitors than Sault Ste. Marie, and even though it's a smaller library.
Yeah, they just have one branch. right?
I think so.
Yeah, for
And
sure,
the Sudbury has 14,
14
it's a
branches.
vast region.
Yeah.
And like that amalgamated. They had
Yeah.
7 municipalities in amalgamated.
Which explains the square footage of the 100,000.
Mhm.
It's interesting, because some libraries seem to excel and pass others in different areas. But you're right, Thunder Bay has all these music elements. Obviously, the rest of us have not been investing in music.
Could be, or is it just an anomaly and it's
This one for my guy. He's been
Yeah.
all these books.
donations, Thunder Bay 88,000 is compared to the city 21,000. So what are they doing differently? Those kinds of things stand out.
Yeah, the municipal funding is interesting too, just to kind of see what percentage of the actual city's budget is.
And I thought it was standard, but they were all on the same page, on the municipal fund. And obviously not, because look at, we're at, what,
We're at
368, right?
We're at 3 million basically for the funding. And that represents 2.29, basically 2.3% of the city budget. Whereas Sudbury, they have 3 times as much money, but it only represents 1.3% of the city budget.
Yeah.
So it depends. They're obviously spending a lot of money on other things. I mean, it's two same Renaissance stuff.
The other one, and then compare that to total provincial operating budget. And that second line. And you look at, what is it? Timmins, 91,000, Sue's at 368,000, so. Just, you want to almost delve deeper into the statistics, to the numbers and see if there's any validity. Or not validity, is there anything that we can change, or is there anything that we do differently that makes us better at a certain area, or bring in better numbers? It's like I said, not in isolation, but overall, it's an interesting picture.
So at the OLS meeting in June, I asked Melissa about the population groupings, because our population has gone up into the next category. And she said the numbers that OLS works with are the census numbers. So they only change when there's a new census. So that's worth knowing. But we actually technically, like the cutoff for our group is 74,999. And we're actually over that. So our comparative numbers actually belong to the group above that now.
We're at the bottom of the larger group, yeah.
Yeah, but in good company, right? So it's still, in terms of comparing, it's another indicator.
So I just we get these statistics. Might as well look at some of them and kind of compare ourselves. Just because there's so many libraries in Ontario, it's not realistic to just show you all the data. So I picked Northern Ontario this time. And maybe we'll look at something different.
I thought this was good, being our closest neighbors, if you will. And it just creates an interesting picture. Any other comments, questions about this? It's a fun read. Just take a look at the chart by itself, if you like, and the infographics are good too.
Mhm.
And I just share it with all my CEO colleagues
Yeah.
from all those libraries. Caroline actually made the chart much nicer.
Any other questions? Then what's left? Until our statistics number, we can move on. You need a. We'll move on to number 10. Okay, Jim. You wanted to add OLS
Oh,
on?
we got you number. Oh no, I'm sorry, number 10. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of you. There's Ontario Library Service has a virtual conference every October. And the board one is October 24th, and it's a Zoom thing. It's free.
Would everyone have gone feel like?
Matthew assures me that he's getting them.
I have the
thought-
invite, I shared it with my staff.
I mean, I'm assuming every board member gets that notification, am I wrong?
Thought so. I think.
I can,
Usually forward them like that.
do you want me to resend it?
I know, I have it, like. if-
Yeah,
if
you have
got-
it, Matthew, but there's some
No, but-
other people that
No,
maybe don't
like,
have it.
You don't have to resend it to me, because I do have it, so I can, if you guys didn't get it, I can set it off.
And there is a link to register, like you click on the word register and it takes you to a thing and you fill it in.
And if you can't attend, I believe a lot of it's being recorded, so you'll be able to still view it after the fact.
But I find these conferences really valuable, and quite honestly, it'd be fun to see someone else from the Sioux Lane attend that meeting. Trail Library Chair.
If you wanna know where I am. To tell you.
It's
Sometimes,
October
it's
24th.
like the rest of the people around the table, sometimes it's just availability, but you can save it and view it later from what I understand, so. So you still wouldn't see it. But thanks. Matthew, can you resend the invitation?
So it's like 6 o'clock.
Or
to
Jamie,
9
you
o'clock.
can.
Or I can send it,
Yeah.
I will, I'll do
send
that
it.
later when I'm not. So is everybody getting that email from Ontario Library Service? Because you should all be on that.
Yeah,
Like, I know you're getting it, Matthew, but.
I know, I just think if they've been sending numerous emails about it,
Yeah,
you should have seen the first
That
one
everybody
over
would
a month
get.
ago.
I got it.
because they also send out emails about board assemblies and.
Yeah.
Other meetings, but this meeting is unusual. So they do one for staff. And then they do one for board members.
Okay. Number 11, new policies. How about you?
So there's two new policies. The first one is the children's services policy. Now, it's not that we didn't have any policies regarding children's services prior. But the one policy we did have was about unattended children up in the library. And, we felt like we should expand that to all children's services. So rather than create a separate policy, we rescinded the children's left unattended. And we added that into this new children's services policy. This is also, I believe, one of the requirements for the accreditation process, policy on children's services, youth services, kind of programs, stuff like that. The other policy, information services policy, that's another requirement for accreditation. So that's the reason why we have that policy added. And it just talks about the various services that we provide at the library in terms of reference, reader's advisory, and just kind of formalize it a little bit. There was another one that we were working on, which is the program policy. Library
You
program.
want to finish this one first? You want? The children's one?
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, I was just saying that there was a third policy, but
Oh, I see.
it's not in front of us
I
yet.
thought you were moving on
It
to
was
the other.
it was deferred.
Okay.
Yeah, is there anything in the policies you guys want to discuss? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very, you go to the last piece about missing children or runaways.
Yes.
In case of missing child, library staff will share any available information with law enforcement and then notify the CEO. I'd like to drop 2 words.
Okay.
Then and notify. Because they should happen simultaneous.
Yeah.
You know the word.
I do.
All right, I don't want anyone to think that it can happen at a future date.
Right.
They
should do it right away.
Exactly, and I know that information, you share with law enforcement, but you should be aware of what's going on at the same time.
Yeah. Even without this policy, we have a very similar policy with some of that information in there. I actually had got a call fairly recently on Saturday. From a child.
Okay.
So, they did notify me, right away. For police, but yeah, we can, approve that one as amended.
Okay. Sure, good. Any other comments on that policy? Accept the motions.
Yeah,
Then in that case, I will ask for a motion to approve the new policy for children's services as amended. I need a mover. Thanks, Steve. Seconder. Like class. I could wait. Thanks, Mike. Just checking, make sure you're still there. Any opposed to the motion? Motion is passed. The second policy that is new to the board and to group information services policy.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, because I was talking about both, that one is another policy that's part of the accreditation process. We're supposed to have a policy on how we provide reference and information services. So that's what that policy is about. I think it's a fairly short one.
Any questions? That case, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the new information services policy. Need a mover? Lisa, thank you. Second, Jamie? Any opposed to the motion? Motion is passed. Moving on to number 12. You're in. Strategic plan progress update. Matthew, you want to lead on that?
Yeah, so it's been a little while since we've met, and so over the summer we have accomplished a number of items. Packaging a lot of order, so I'm just trying to find it. As you can see from the action item progress, we made quite a bit of movement from the previous month. Our greatest area so far is the heritage one, and the one that we probably need a bit more focus on is the community engagement, just because it's such a large action item. But there's no incomplete so far, which is good, and we haven't reached a year yet. December, I think, would be the 1 year mark of when we officially started doing the strategic plan and action items. So with less than a year, having as much as we have done so far, I think that's a really good sign. I do have an updated action item tracking documents available on the board drive. So anybody who wants to look at individual action items, by all means, look at them. And then if you guys ever do anything that's on those, where it's under the governance section, just inform me, and I can make sure that I can report it.
You don't have to wait till a board meeting if you have questions about the strategic plan. I know, Jamie, you had a number of questions. Were those addressed, or do you want to share any of that with the board? Or?
I don't have it in front of me, and my iPad is in the IT manager's office. I do have a question though. You mentioned it twice, Matthew, accreditation. Where does that fit in the, like, is it next year? Is it 2026?
We were aiming for 2025.
We were, awesome.
maybe more towards the end of the year. We made a lot of progress with some of our policies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Oh,
big
no,
part of
and
it.
we're already excellent in the self-audit tool.
Yeah,
And you gave us the training in March or April or whenever that was. My question then is if that is your timing, would we submit a request to Stephen Kraus or
I would wait until
Jesse
we have,
Roberts because they have an annual list and how do we get on it and
yeah, I'm hesitant, like, we might have to wait till 2026, but I hope not. But, there's the mandatory items that I wanna get knocked off, before we actually approach them, cause I would hate to approach them and say, let's start this, and then we have
oh yeah,
one or
we're
two
not,
mandatory.
January's too soon, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know how their calendar, how they schedule their, like if they do 12 a year, we want to be one of the 12, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if they take them in a calendar year, or if they do 12 a year and they take them as they're submitted.
Could you find out? That would be worthwhile. And we have, the cost for that is like 200 or something? That
It's
we've
not bad.
already budgeted, probably? I'm guessing?
I think if we haven't, there's room in the budget for it.
Oh, okay. You know, I sent Matthew a list of items that I thought that looked to be not started in the strategic plan, but they were started and he responded, so I don't need to go through that here and I don't have a list in front of me, so much to your delight, right?
And that's my point to the board, like, you know, if you have questions, you don't have to wait till this board meeting to ask them about the strategic plan. Like myself, I recognize that you've had lost a senior manager and you've had staff changes. And in this package, to see how many things you're able to accomplish, not bad. You know, considering, when you lose your second, valuable piece of your organization. You're doing all right. So, thanks.
I mean, it's a 5-year plan, so to have 20% of it completed by the year's end is ideal.
Yeah.
And I think we're exceeding that, so I think we're doing very well for the first year.
Good.
I think in our training, Jesse said that 25% of the action items can be considered aspirational, like you're not ever gonna 100% complete your plan, no.
No,
It's just a good.
So if there are items in the action, in the document that's online that don't have a date next to them, what does that mean?
some of them are probably ongoing ones, so
Oh.
it would be like, if do so many events. And, usually we'll write the date of the event in the notes field with, and what the event
Oh,
was.
okay.
So it's like, drag story times might be an ongoing, action item. Right, we might be planning on doing it more than one time during the life of the strategic plan, maybe we'll do it once a year. So it may not necessarily have a date next to it for that reason. Or it's just because we're not sure. I like to put a date range if I can,
Mhm,
but,
me too,
yeah.
yeah. So-
it depends, cause I'm not the only one filling it out, so maybe some of my managers didn't know what date to fill out.
Oh, okay, so
But
if it's a 5-year plan, how does that align with the term of the board though?
so the next board will still be doing the strategic plan.
With this strategic plan?
Yeah,
Perfect.
so, they'll,
Sorry, no.
yeah, so they don't have to start, with a brand new, start making a brand new plan. So they'll have a plan, they'll get used to how the library operates, in case there's a board members. And then, they'll see how the plan works, and then they'll have a better sense when they go in to develop the next plan. Which we should be starting in year 5 while we're still doing the strategic plan.
Anything else on strategic plan? Note for the minutes, Stevens left the meeting, he had, another commitment called work. So we still have quorum, but I can't lose anybody else. Nobody moved. January 27th incident,
June 27th.
June,
June, yeah, that one was on the news.
beautiful.
See some of the pictures of the washroom. It's a really unfortunate. So we first heard somebody yelling in the washroom. So I went to investigate and we discovered that someone had gone up into the ceiling. We tried to call them and ask them to come down, and they started dropping to the ceiling, like vents. So me and my staff had to exit the bathroom for our own safety. And then we notified the police. And, police came. They tried to focus her down. I gave them food and water. They could draw her out with that, and they were unsuccessful. And so they had to notify fire department to get her out, and we had medic on site as well. I had to go around the building and turn off some of the power, to turn off the entire power for the building because we still wanted the elevator to work. I would use the gurney from the paramedics. So turned off the power to the washroom, and I turned off the water to the washroom so that in case when the fire department was cutting through, if they had any
Hit
wires
something,
or
oh,
pipes, it would minimize damage or injury. There was one officer who was injured, but he was injured not by the person, but like scraping his arm on part of the building as he was drawing her out of it. So there was a bit of blood in the bathroom. So, I contacted Winmar. They're a company that we've used in the past when we've had disasters here at the library. And they did emergency cleanup for us and made sure that, because there was a wire hanging down, I wanted to make sure that that was safe. So they confirmed it was safe. The police at one point did ask us to evacuate the building when the fire department was going to cut through the ceiling and the walls. And so I did evacuate the building at that point. And then I did release the staff for the day. Just because we weren't sure if it was going to be a safe workplace with the walls being cut, we're not sure about power, whether or not the power could be restored. So staff were released for the remainder of the day, except for some of the management team who on site to deal with the incident. And I talked to the police afterwards, gave them a victim report, the library being the victim. And fortunately, the woman was rescued. She was originally in the ceiling. She did fall from the ceiling to a space between the walls, and that's why they had to knock out some of the cinder block. But she was rescued and taken to the hospital.
And I know it's not funny, but this is a slideshow for Super Conference. Because the impact, this is nowhere in your job description. This story is just incredible.
It's not something they prepare you for, that's for sure.
No, you can take that course.
So would this become like a band user at some point?
Yeah, they're banned. But they were transient anyway, they weren't.
Oh, right.
But they are banned, because of the, damage. So we have a threshold for, damage and vandalism, and, it far exceeded that. And unfortunately, we just submitted an insurance claim because of the low value to the city of the damage. Even though it was over $5,000 for us, so it just came over our operations.
Happy she was safe. I hope you didn't sign her up for a library.
And when, as a preventative action, that she got in through a vent through the ceiling, we've now got those vents locked. So you actually require a key to open those vents.
Good for you.
Yeah. So,
That kind of has been anymore. No, it just gets crazy.
So was she given a key to the bathroom?
yes,
Okay. And she was in there alone, hopefully.
she was not. No, she crawled over a stall that was locked. Because they're not single use washrooms.
No, I know, that's my question. So there wasn't anybody else that got,
There was somebody else.
oh, there
She-
was?
Yeah, and the
Ugh.
police talked with her too. She was a little traumatized.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then the reason why I'm reporting from I've already given you some information when the incident happened, but because I needed to do emergency repairs, I for the purchasing procurement policy, I have to give an explanation of why I use the single source instead of sending it to tender.
definitely.
So that's the reason why.
And it's good for the board to know what you're doing here.
Yeah, it's an interesting picture that shows city council of the street lined with police and fire and paramedics.
Yeah,
When you make your budget request for security or whatever,
And then this did happen during a time when security was not on site.
and it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
There was, yeah, it happened just in the day, early in the morning.
oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Security's
You
only
think
here
it would have happened anyway with security here? It would have played out the same way?
When security comes to the water.
Unless it scared her off knowing that there's
Yeah.
nobody here, but
So the process of
Probably not.
requesting a key and somebody handing it over, there isn't any kind of filtering going on there?
if they're intoxicated, we wouldn't give them a key. But
Mm,
that's not to say that they're not gonna go down and become intoxicated.
that's true.
But we can't make a judgment on somebody based on their appearance or even
No.
necessarily their behavior.
Especially when
Yeah, it's a tough call.
So it's tough to be equitable and fair to everybody. But that,
so having it locked doesn't prevent this incident from happening.
well, it obviously didn't, but it discourages some use, but it does not prevent
No.
misuse of the washrooms.
Mhm.
Resolved that the members of Sunbury Public Library Board move into closed session pursuant to the Public Libraries Act, section 16.4. Closed meetings as a subject matter being considered as personal matters about an identifiable individual. Further, be it resolved that should the said closed session be adjourned, the board may reconvene in closed session to continue to discuss the same matter without need for further authorizing resolutions. Be it further resolved that the following individuals be permitted to attend